Okay, so once again, thank you so much for joining our Zoom today. I'm very grateful to see all of you returning and participating, and I'm particularly honored by those of you who are willing to share your camera and raise your voice and turn on the microphone to interact. Um, we are part of a journey. We are in a journey to come to a better understanding of what it means to be a human being. And at the same time, what it means to have the kind of human life and experience that is worth living. Okay. So the flyer that I sent out today, let me see if I remember what I said in the flyer. Uh, it says that, where is it? Date. The flyer says, what is the root cause of human life experience? Okay, why do we experience the kind of thing that we do? And which seed shall we sow in order to reap the kind of fruit, the fruit of life that is worth living? Hello, Mr. An Lei. Thank you for joining us. Once again, thank you, Ms. Lang An. I am grateful for your participation. I look forward to you guys interacting, whether in the chat box or in the microphone. Okay, thank you again, Andrew, so much for your participation. I'm always honored. So,
Thank you, Frank.
as a tradition, just to activate our brain a little bit, get the mental juices flowing, let's do a little bit of brain activation. Okay, brain activation. Before we jump into any new material, would you anybody like to kind of go over their notes and share a little bit of some of the lessons that they have learned? By reviewing the lessons, we help other participants in the Zoom also review and learn. And as you go through your notes and just kind of talk about some of the material that impresses you, okay, especially from last time, could be last week, could be before, or even anything that happened today or throughout the week that has made an impression on you that you find applicable, okay, things that we can apply to our life. And most importantly, if anything during this week uh, caused you to realize some new thing, new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at life, any light bulb moment, because those are the small transformation that basically set us on a path to a different life. Okay, the realization. So the principle of brain activation, lesson, impression, realization. Okay. Andrew, would you like to start? Just kind of look through your note and see if anything jump out and you would and
Well, I won't tell you in particular experiences, but I've been having some experiences, lots of contemplation, things that happen in relationship. Um, a lot of these things we're learning come into play, and it gives me, because I sit through this, I have a wider uh, perspective and knowledge to pick from, but I don't have all the answers yet. So that's it.
okay. So you at least notice that there is a wider perspective, right? Your awareness has expanded a little bit, right?
It has, yeah.
Your awareness has expanded. In fact, yes, that's what we did. That is the when we first began with the idea of awareness. Okay, when before we have an awareness of something, we either don't know of it or maybe we have some negative inner state about it. But as our awareness begin to expand, at some point we get to a point when we have a more positive mental image about life or about any subject in life. We have more favorable source concept. We'll go into detail about what those mean in a little bit. And most importantly, our inner state, we kind of notice that our inner state become a little bit more balanced and positively oriented. Okay. When we reach a state of balance, then we also experience a state of peace We're not being pulled positively or negatively by the external circumstances of life. We start to take ownership of who we are and how we be. Okay, how we be. Okay, this is a study of the way of being. It is ontological. It is a form of philosophy that studies the way of being, not so much what we can do, but how we be. And by
Just
focusing on the ways of being, we can actually influence our own awareness, our thought, and ultimately our action, and then our reality of life. Okay. So thank you
I want to
for,
say, Frank, I want to just tell you I got to thank you because I have had a real improvement in balance with
yeah,
positivity. And I even shared it with my father. He's a stubborn older guy. I shouldn't say that's negative, but he actually has, without saying anything, that's accepting. So that's a good thing.
yeah,
You mentioned it um, without saying anything. That silence was an agreement on being always positive. So that's great. Thanks, Frank.
you're very welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah, we start to notice that we are in balance more often than not. And
Yeah.
we start to catch ourselves when we thinking negatively. Okay, notice you just caught yourself so fast.
Yeah.
Before we are trapped on this runaway train that can go downhill, and it can go downhill very fast for very long.
Yeah.
But now we start to catch ourselves, and we just kind of pick ourselves up and we start over. We have this sort of reset button, kind of like our phone. Our phone, if we use our phone or our computer for a long time, they tend to bog down. They slow down, they heat up, they cause all kinds of problems. But there is a magical way that the IT people can solve most of computer problem, and that's the reset button. Okay, we just go to reset, and everything gets refreshed. All the memory get flushed out, and we start anew. So as a human being, we have that reset button in the middle in the center of our core being. Some people call it our heart. I like to call it our spirit. And that spirit, or that core of our being, which is always there, we can always go back to it. We can always press this big yellow button, okay, and then we can return to balance. Okay, and from the state of balance, we can proactively choose to go positive, as opposed to letting our automatic mind and emotion pull us down to negativity. Okay, okay. So let's yeah. So that just let's see. Just a quick review. So we'll go with this map of human nature. Okay. It is also called the human structure or human construct, or the human energetic structure, because it talks about human energy, how our energy is affected by our desire and imagination. As human beings, we are always desiring and wanting things. And the direction of our desire and wanting things tend to decide the direction of the polarity and intensity of all the other human natures: our temperance, our perception, our pride, our inquiry, our ethos, and our judgment. If we desire negatively, which is for ourselves, and those desires are not met, we tend to jump over to the negative end of the temperament. We become angry. Okay, we become negative. Our perception will tend to go negative. We become more deluded. Our pride, sometimes we lose our sense of confidence. Okay. Um, and we are always desiring and imagining wealth, beauty, identity, consumption, and rest. Wealth can be thought of monetary wealth. We can think of it as power and influence, wealth of people, wealth of influence. Whenever our desire and imagination is not met in terms of wealth, we tend to go negative. We desire beauty, physical appearance, our own physical appearance. What we wear today is important to us. How we put our hair up or not put our hair up. We are interested in beauty, is also the beauty of the spatial surrounding. the way things are set up in the home, the way things are set up in the office, the way the behavior of other people oftentimes can fall into the realm of beauty. Okay, the way we see the world, we want it to be beauty in our own eye. We are interested in our sense of identity, who we are, our title, our job, our role in life. We are always interested in consumption. If we're not consuming food and water, we are consuming the media, we are consuming entertainment. Those things will also affect the degree and the polarity of our human nature. In scientific terms, those are our personality traits. Okay, those make up our personality trait. All of these 16 human nature, from the Buddhist perspective, the interplaying, the complex interplaying of these human nature make up our personality. It makes up our sense of self. It makes up our ego. And thereby it determines our experience of life. Okay, so if we can start to take ownership of our desire and imagination about all the other things, then we can start taking ownership of our own human life experience. And if you recall from last week, our desire and imagination determines our emotion as well. From our human nature, also our personality trait and our ego, that determine the kind of emotion, which is the 84,000 bubbles of illusion that the Buddhists call them. 84,000 bubbles of illusion. Those are just feelings. Feelings wells up and then they dissipate. Okay. And in fact, we feel the feeling in the body. So our feeling affect our body, our four element body. So you can kind of see from the inside out, it is our spirit. If our spirit is in balance, then our mind is in balance. If our mind is in balance, our emotion is in balance. If our emotion is in balance, our body is in balance, and we enjoy a healthy life. But if we fail to let the balanced part of ourselves, the ultra high energy of the spirit of emptiness, okay, if we fail to let that truth within us, the spirit of emptiness, reside, then the nature, the human nature takes place. The mind goes all over the place, and that causes the emotion to go all over the place. And before we know it, our body is also all over the place. Okay, it goes positive and it goes negative. It goes negative, we get sick. Okay, so question is, how do we, where do these human experience come from? Okay, why do we think positively and negatively? Why do we feel positively and negatively? Where do human experience actually come from? Okay, so let me see. Does anybody have any question about previous material before we jump into the new material? All right, excuse me. Okay. So if we are to understand, hello, chị Minh Hương, thank you for joining our Zoom today. All right. So once again, back to the question of, where do human experience come from, right? Why do we experience the kind of thing that we do? Why do we think the way we do? Why do we behave and feel the way that we do? Where do all of that come from? And if we can get to the root of that, can we shape, our human life and experience? Okay. So consider that the universe is governed by a set of universal principles and natural laws. Universal principles and natural law. Okay. Everything in this universe runs on universal principles and natural law. Of those universal principles and natural law, one of them govern every aspect of our life, our world. It is the law of causality. Okay, the law of causality. In other words, cause and consequences, cause and effect. Cause, for every cause, there's an effect. And the list, the series of all the effects is called the consequences. But the law of causality governs all aspects of life, cause and effect. To give a sense of visualization, cause is a fruit. Okay? And the effect is sorry, oops. Let's do that again. Cause is a seed, and the effect is a fruit. Okay, let's try that again. Not that one. That one's got a hole. That's fine. We'll use that one. Okay, let's try again. Law of causality. Okay, which say that for every cause, there is an effect. Very simple, right? And to visualize that, for every seed that is planted, you get the fruit of that same seed. Okay, pretty simple. If we plant a mango seed, we can expect to bear the mango fruit. If we plant a guava seed, we can expect that seed will grow up into a tree and it will bear a guava fruit. Okay? In fact, let's take a look at the law of causality as it applies to different aspects of human life. In fact, all of human knowledge, okay, all of human knowledge can be simplified by dividing it into three main point of view. Okay, one of the point of view that most of us operate on is the worldly view. Worldly view. Everything about the world. Everything that we go to school to learn, it's about our world. Okay, as we grow up, we go to school, we learn math, we learn science, we learn how to speak, we learn languages, we learn culture. All of that help us understand our world better. So it's simply called our worldly view. And science is pretty good at helping us understand the worldly view, right? The more science is developed, the more we understand how our world works. So science is very good at helping understand our worldly view, or the view of worldly matter. That's another way of saying it. Views of worldly matter. Not everybody is scientifically minded. Not everybody is interested in worldly stuff. There is another dimension of human life that people can focus on, and it calls into question sort of the invisible things, the more spiritual things, like where did the world ultimately came from and where will it go? While science tried to explain the the beginning and the end of the universe, there is another perspective or another point of view that also try to explain where our world, our universe come from. And it is called the cosmological perspective or the point of view. Cosmological. Okay? Cosmological perspective sort of try to explain the visible and the invisible stuff, the stuff that the worldly and the science perspective cannot explain. And in order to explain things like where does the world come from, where do we come from, where do we go when we die, are there such as a thing as the soul, right? Is there eternal life? Is there other beings beside ourselves? Okay, we're not talking about aliens in another world. We're talking about, maybe spiritual being, higher being, beings of higher power. These are the things that religion and faith try to answer, right? You notice that there are religions and there are different faiths in the world, and people do turn to religion and faith in order to explain a lot of things about the cosmological point of view. Okay? Some people believe that God created the world. Some people believe that God will decide where we go after we die, for instance. Okay? So there is a perspective of religion and faith. And religion and faith has is pretty good at explaining the cosmological perspective of our world. Buddhists have a certain cosmology. Christianity has certain cosmology, for example. Okay, cosmology is how our universe, our cosmos is made up. And so with the worldly matter, science is pretty good at explaining the worldly matter. With cosmology, religion, and faith, does a pretty good job helping us with that. But then again, there is a point of view that deals with human life and experience. And I call it the humanistic point of view. Human life and experience. Okay? There are people who are not so scientifically minded. Some people don't really care about religion, but they do have a certain sense of what humanity is about. And they do ask certain moral and philosophical questions about life. So we simply call it moral philosophy, are the ways in which people try to understand human life and experience. In fact, whereas science is pretty good at helping us explain worldly matter, causality of the worldly matter. Science can tell you that if you plant a mango seed, you're going to get a mango fruit, right? Science can tell you that if you begin with an accurate blueprint of a building, then that's the seed, right? If you begin with an accurate blueprint of the building, you can work step by step and then eventually bring that building into reality. You can build a structure, you can build a bridge. With science, we can begin with a plan to go to Mars, and then we can go to Mars. With worldly matter, science is very good. Okay? Religion will explain where we come from, where we go, okay, in terms of the soul and all that stuff. But when it comes to human life and experience, things like happiness, okay, I assume most people would like to have happiness as the fruit of life. Most people would like health as the fruit of life. Most people, I presume, would want a harmonious relationship, whether with their children, their parent, or with their spouse, as the fruit of life. And yet, we're not so good at planting the right seed to get those fruit. Everybody wants happiness, but what is the seed of happiness? Everybody wants a harmonious marriage relationship, but what is the good seed that will bring about the fruit of harmonious marriage relationship? Right? Most of us, some of us here have children. We want our children to grow up to be a responsible adult. Those are the fruit of life that we want. Well, what kind of seed do we need to plant? So human beings, we are a little bit, sometimes I think we are a little shortcoming when it comes to the humanistic point of view. When it comes to planting the seed of human life and experience. And that's what this whole philosophy and this whole sharing is about, is to help us focus on the humanistic point of view to come to a fuller understanding, a greater awareness of what it means to be a human being and what it means to have a human life and experience that is worth living. Okay? So let me just throw out one more thing. There is causality. So we talked about the seed. Okay, so seed, let's instead of using that triangle, let's use a different triangle. So causality of human life and experience. Okay, causality of human life and experience. We know that for every cause, there's a effect. Okay. If the cause that if the effect that we want is the good life, then what are the seed or what are the causes? Okay, so it turns out that the inner seed, the seed, let's use the word seed. Okay, so we can see a picture. This is fruit. The thing about the seed and the fruit is that just because we have a good seed doesn't necessarily mean we will bear the good fruit. You can plant the seed of a mango and you will bear the fruit of a mango, but that mango may not be sweet. Okay, it may be a sour mango, it may be a rotten mango. That's a problem. That is because between the seed and the fruit, between the cause and the effect, there is some in between. It is the condition. Okay, it is the condition. You plant that seed will determine how that seed will bear fruit. The Bible talks about this. Okay,
Yes.
you take the seed and you throw it on the street. Okay, cars and horses will run over it, and the seed will die. You take the seed and you just throw it on barren soil or on the rocky ground. It'll fall into the crack, and it too will die. You take the seed and you plant it in shallow soil. It may grow up into a tiny little tree, but that tree will also wither and die. It will never bear the fruit that we want. So in the formula for cause and effect, it is the good cause. We are definitely want good cause or good seed. We definitely want desirable, I'm just going to use the desired ed, desired effect or desired fruit. But we also need to make sure that we have favorable condition. Okay, so I'm going to add the word favorable, favorable condition. So the formula is good cause plus favorable condition will give us desirable effect or desirable fruit. Okay, you guys get that so far? The formula
Yeah.
for causality of human life experience is pretty simple. We just need the good cause, which is a seed or the good seed. We need favorable condition, and that will give us the desired fruit. Okay, and we have already briefly mentioned what good seed was in our previous sharing, and it talks about inner awareness. Okay, the good seed within us is the inner awareness. Okay, we talk about positive and balanced and positive oriented. We talk about positive mental images. We talk about favorable source concept. Those are related to our inner awareness. If we have an inner awareness that is balanced and positively oriented, if we have an inner awareness that is composed of positive mental images, if we have an inner awareness that contains favorable source concept or beneficial source concept, then that is a good start. Okay, that is a good start to getting the effect, which is desired. Let's call it desired life. Okay, desired life outcome. Okay, but that's just the start. The favorable condition, it turns out, as the wise sages have taught us, okay, these are the people who have succeeded in achieving the kind of life that they want, and they pass on the wisdom to us. We call them sages. They taught us that in addition to our own inner awareness, what we need to do to basically make the seed grow is to plant those seed in a positive affinity, in a condition which has to do with positive affinity, which is with people. Okay, positive affinity. Affinity is our attraction to people. We are not isolated entities. We live with other people. If we can cultivate a condition, an environment essentially, where those seed can grow, then we will get the life that we want. And the condition is our affinity with other people. Okay, we will talk about our relationship and our affinity with other people as we go. Okay, but basically, that is the formula for causality, for the life that is worth living. Okay, good inner awareness plus positive affinity will give us the desired life outcome. Or I could say good cause, favorable condition, desired fruit, desired effect. Okay. So let's go back and work on this inner awareness part a little more. Okay. We already briefly mentioned three elements to be fully aware of something. We will need positive balance and positive inner state. We will need positive mental images, and we will need favorable source concept. Okay, so let's take a look at we already mentioned the balance and positively oriented inner state in the past couple of sharing. So you can kind of get an idea about what that means. Okay, we'll revisit that and we'll go deeper in the subsequent sharing. But today, let's see if we can go and talk a little bit about the positive mental images. Okay, positive mental images. What does that mean, positive mental images? Okay. So the sages have taught us that one of the part that makes up the good seed within us. So let's write that down. Okay, let's call it good inner seed. Okay, we agree that good inner seed will eventually give us a desirable life outcome. Good inner seed. And we already gave you three components of that. One component is positive mental images. Okay. The other one is favorable source concept. Notice that in the past several weeks, we've gone through some concepts. Okay, all of these are conceptual. Everything we've learned are ideas and concepts. And all of these concepts are favorable. Why? Because they help lead us toward that reality of the fruit of life that is worth living. Okay? It is a favorable source concept. So you have a taste of that already. Mental images, favorable source concept, and we'll leave that middle part later. Okay, but for now, let's talk about the mental images. Okay. Mental images. Let's use color. This color. And believe it or not, you've already had part of it. You already was introduced to part of it. Let's use, yeah, we'll just read. Okay. The will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know. Notice that human beings, we have the will to hear and the will to see, the will to speak and the will to know. For now, let's just focus on the will to hear and the will to see. Okay, the will to hear and the will to see. And from this will to hear and the will to see will give us the kind of mental images that we possess. Okay, the will to hear and the will to see will give us the kind of mental images that we will possess as a human being. And how do we make sure that the mental images that we get is positive, is balanced, is beneficial, is favorable toward us cultivating and eventually reaping that positive fruit? Okay, so we need to understand another principle. Another principle. Let's use this one. Called the principle of light. As I mentioned before, as human beings, we are governed by universal principles and natural laws. Okay, we cannot escape them, just like the law of gravity. Okay, we cannot escape gravity. Okay, we can only understand it and make good use of it for our own benefit. Principle of light. You can draw this with me. I recommend you draw this with me. So draw a rectangle. Okay, and label it dark room. Okay, so pretend that this is a dark room. Now, when we think about light, light has this duality to it. Wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there's darkness, not enough light. It's that simple. Wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there is darkness, not enough light. So if this was a dark room, the simple question is, what's the simplest way to brighten up this room? Can somebody give me an interact? What is the simplest way to brighten up a dark room? What do you think?
Remove the
This
dark.
okay. So the simplest way, right? If there was no light in this room, the simplest way to brighten up any room is to bring light into the room. Okay. You turn on the candle, you flip the switch, the energy surges through the electrical wire, feeds energy into the light bulb, and the room goes up. The light brighten up. Or we open the window, the light from the sun comes into the room. Okay. The simplest way to brighten up any dark room is to bring light in. It's that simple. Even a 3-year-old know how to do that. Okay, the simplest way to brighten up any dark room is to bring light in. Some people would try to argue, however, that if you can somehow remove the darkness, then the room would automatically brighten up because that's a principle of light. But is that practical? Okay, can you actually remove the darkness and expect the light to come into the room? It doesn't work. Okay, it just doesn't work. Not in our universe. Okay, just because light and darkness has this duality, this intimate opposite relationship to them. Wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there's darkness, not enough light, doesn't mean that you can remove the darkness and light will automatically come into the room. Do you guys get that so far? All right. So when it comes to the principle of light, there really is only one way to brighten the room. That is to bring light into the room. Okay. Can we all agree that the only way to brighten up the room is to bring light into the room? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's take a look at our life. Okay. So let's draw another figure. Draw a little house. Okay. Draw a little house. This house represents our life. And before we study this philosophy, many of us are trapped with many problems in life. Life can feel pretty complicated. Okay, a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, a lot of things to deal with. But fortunately for us, people who have mastered what it means to be a human being, people who are wise enough to have risen above life's problem, give us the following simple way of looking at life. This is one simple way that we can immediately take control of our life by understanding that life only has 4 problems that we need to deal with. The problems of our inner being, the problems of our health, let's use the problems of our relationship, and the problems of our finance. Okay? Take a moment and take a look at our life. How's the internet connection? I think I lost some people, or did I lose my own connection? And can somebody give me a sign that you're still in the Zoom?
I'm here.
Okay. All right.
I'm here.
All righty. So, yeah, that's our life. There is only 4 problems in life that we need to deal with. Previously, we had so many problems. Things can hit us from all over the place. We get overwhelmed. But now, if you take a look at it, there's really only problem in life that we really ever need to pay attention to. Whenever we have a problem, we just need to sit down and take a look. Okay, is it related to my finance? Is it related to my health? Is something going on with my relationship? Or is something going on within me, my inner being? And if we take a look closely, you will notice that they are interrelated. For example, if our inner being is in trouble, so will our health. If our inner being is in trouble, that will affect our relationship. If our inner being is in trouble, that will, be detrimental to our finance. And vice versa. If our health is good, right? Our body, our mind, physical health, mental health is strong and healthy and balanced. Guess what? Our inner being gets the benefit from that strength and balance. If our relationship with our spouse, our children, our coworker is positive and harmonious, well, guess what? Our mental attitude, our inner being, our feelings will also be positive. They are interrelated. They are mutually, supportive of each other. Okay. If our health is in trouble and we are isolated, we cannot interact with people. Okay. It will hurt our relationship. But if our health is, good, we're outgoing, we're interacting with people, our relationship is going to go up. And vice versa. People who are isolated will find themselves being sick more often. On the other hand, people who are in a harmonious relationship with their spouse, their children, with the people around them, guess what? They will experience good health as well. So you see how they are interrelated. If our health is poor, we cannot go to work and make money. So our finance is affected. But if our health is good, we're strong, we're resilient, we have energy, we can make money. Okay, our finance go up. Vice versa, we suddenly find ourselves in a financial trouble. Let's say we get into big debt. Immediately, everything, our inner being, we're going to get depressed. It's going to make our inner being go down. Our health is going to be in trouble as well. Okay, nobody's going to be happy, and you're going to be end up stressed out when our finances is in trouble. So our health is affected. And of course, people who have good finance, they can use the finance to improve their health. Statistically speaking, poor people experience poorer health. That is the fact in today's world. People who have money can afford nutritious food. They can afford exercise. They can afford good medicine. They can afford all kinds of things. And they generally have a healthier lifestyle as well. Okay? And obviously, our finance and our relationship is interrelated. A person who has good relationship people, guess what? A lot of chance for networking, right? A lot of job opportunity. Right? People who have poor relationship, they're isolated, they have no friends, they're not going to be able to make any money. Business people are people who have a lot of good relationship. Oftentimes there's a saying, it is not what you know, it is who you know that would give you the success or the position you have in life, okay? With respect to finance and all that stuff. And vice versa, our finance affect our relationship with people. A person who has a lot of money tends to attract a lot of friends. Okay, you have money, you can afford to treat your friend that people are gonna like you. If you have money, you can bring your family on vacation. People are gonna like you. Okay, if you suddenly find yourself in debt, you're gonna start to lose friends very quickly too. Okay. So our finance and our relationship is interrelated. People who find themselves in divorce suddenly lose half the finance, just like that. And so with this picture, this is a powerful picture to help us simplify all of life's problems. Okay, anytime we have any problem, you can kind of take a look and sit down and say, okay, what part of my life do I need to go to work on? If it's my health that's in trouble, well, it is not just my health that is in trouble. It is usually something else that has been interrelated and causing my health to get in trouble. If my finance is in trouble, is it just one thing? No, it's probably your health and your inner being and your relationship that is contributing to your finance being in trouble too. Okay? And if our inner being is in trouble, basically everything else is also in trouble. And so, how does the principle of light come into play? The principle of light come into play is that we mistakenly try to remove the darkness in our life by trying to remove the problem of life. We try to go after the problem and fix the problem. Okay, this is an important part that you guys need to kind of pay attention. As human beings, we make the mistake of trying to remove the darkness from the room, expecting the room to brighten up. Okay, that is an analogy to say that we try to fix the problems of our life by trying to remove the problem themselves. If we're sick, immediately what do we think about? We think about getting rid of the sickness. We go to the doctor expecting medication, expecting surgery, expecting some treatment. The doctor may temporarily remove your sickness, but if we don't get ourselves to a state of health, the sickness is going to come back. Okay? Think about that. Here's a statement that you can consider. Let me quote the World Health Organization's definition of health. The World Health Organization basically says that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. In other words, a healthy person is not sick. That's simple to understand. Right? Healthy person is not sick. But a person who is not sick is not necessarily healthy. How about that? Just because you're not sick doesn't mean you're actually healthy, because at any moment, we can catch some illness if we are not in a state of health. So when it comes to health, instead of focusing on simply removing the illness or infirmity, that's removing the darkness, instead of just focusing on removing the illnesses or infirmity, what we really want to focus is to bring light into the room of health, to get healthy. When our body and our mind and our spirit and our emotion is healthy, the room is bright, no room for darkness, no room for illness. Do you get the principle?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we are healthy, there is no room for illness to take place. But if we're constantly going after the illness, trying to fix the illness, fine, we can fix it. But if we're not healthy, then the illness will come back. Human being as a race, we are supposed to have withstood COVID very simply. It is just a flu. Yes, it's a nasty flu. The coronavirus, it's nasty flu. But as a human being, we have enough within us, as far as our immune system, as far as our ability to fight disease. If we have a state of balance and health, then we could have fought COVID very simply. But no, we are so out of balance with respect to our health that we fall prey to COVID. Okay, so think about that one. If our body is in a state of healthy balance, our mind, our emotion, our spirit is in balance, like we've learned in the past couple of weeks. If our body is in balance as a result of our mind and our emotion, our spirit is in balance, then it has the ability to homeostasis. Did I talk about homeostasis? It talked about our ability to maintain its own sense of balance. Homeostasis, a state of coming home to a state of balance. Our body, take for example, when we are hot, when we go out into the sun, when we just exercise, we would come into a really hot room. When we are hot, how does your body maintain balance? How does your body bring us back to a state of balance when we are really hot? Does anybody know? What does your body do to bring us back to balance? We sweat. Yeah, we just sweat. Okay, water has the ability to absorb heat and temperature, and our body gets rid of it to bring us back to a state of balance. A human being is at balance when their body temperature, their fire, remember all of that lesson? The fire within us, okay? The 4-element body, the fire is our body temperature, okay? 98.6 degree Fahrenheit, I think 37 or something degrees Celsius. Our body maintains a sense of balance. It has its own ability to shift our metabolism, get rid of excess heat to keep ourselves in balance. When we go out to the cold, how does the body improve our temperature so that we maintain balance? Does anybody know? When we go out to the cold.
Burn energy, make heat.
It
Burn
makes us
energy.
shiver. We shiver. We
Oh,
actually
shiver.
shiver. That's an immediate, like we shiver, the shaking, the vibration increases the movement, thereby increasing the kinetic energy of every cell in our body and improve the heat. They also constrict all the blood vessels so that it will maintain as much energy as possible. Okay, our body has a way of trying to maintain balance all the time, but we put ourselves out of balance. Okay, we put ourselves out of balance. We think, we feel, we let all of that negativity goes negative. So we put our 4-element body out of balance. And when we are out of balance, our body is not able to maintain its own defensive posture against foreign invasion. Okay, that's all. Okay, in this day and age, stress is one way that we put ourselves out of balance. When we stress, our blood vessel constrict, it wreaks havoc all over our body. I don't want to go into the detail of the negativity of stress, but that is one way that we put ourselves out of balance. And because we are out of balance, we are unable to fight off simple disease like the cold and the flu and coronavirus. Okay, that has to do with our health. And our health has to do with our inner being, the way we think, the way we feel, our spirit. And when our health is in trouble, so does our relationship with other people, and our finance goes down as well. So the lesson with the principle of light is that, we don't try to focus on fixing the problems of life. Instead of fixing the problem of life, those are only temporary. Okay, fixing the problem of light is trying to remove the darkness and expecting the light to brighten up. It doesn't work. Instead, we go to work on bringing the light in. We go to work on maintaining balance and positively oriented in all aspects of life. We bring the light into our health. We bring the light into our relationship. We bring the light into our finance. We bring the light back into our inner being. Fortunately, our inner being already has light at the center of it. That is the truth within us. That is the already always hearing and seeing and knowing and speaking. All we got to do to bring the light back into our inner being is to go back to that state of ultra high balance. Just pay attention to the fact that we are hearing and we are seeing. Okay, so whenever we find ourselves out of balance, somebody say something, some event happen, some external circumstances take place, and we think we are, a little out of balance, go back, okay. Just notice the hearing and notice the seeing. When you go back to that emptiness, you reach a state of balance. And from that state of balance, we can proactively choose to bring light in, to go positive instead of negative. Okay? So I have to take time to give you a clear mental image about the principle of light. We are giving you a favorable source concept of the principle of light. And we're going to apply the principle of light to everything that we talk about from here on out. Okay, principle of light. Always bring light in, never try to remove the darkness from the room. Okay. Any lesson impression before we move on?
No. Stay happy. Be healthy.
Okay. Okay. So the word to hear, the word to see, the word to speak. Okay. If we're just trying to if we're just trying to bring balance, then it is the emptiness of being. Okay. We don't hear anything. We don't see anything. It is just the will to hear and the will to see. But as human being, we have the human nature. We have the personality trait. We have the ego and we have the self. We have the need to interact with other people and survive in this world. That is when we operate beyond this, this emptiness inside. That is when we operate in this outer area. Okay. As a human being, in order for us to live in this world, because if we stay in this emptiness, we don't do anything. It's a great way to come back to balance, but we don't do anything. And so there's, yeah, if we just stay inside this bright space all the time, then we don't create any value for other people. We don't do anything, then nothing ever happens. But if we are to do anything, if we are to think anything, if we are to feel anything, then we are going to be basically operating in the mind and emotion. Okay. Okay, so the mind, what does the mind do? The mind analyze and differentiate. Okay, here I use the word distinguish, but the mind also differentiate. The mind think. Okay, so let's take. Uh, let's mute that person. Okay, so beyond the emptiness of being. Okay. Okay, beyond the emptiness of being, when we operate in the realm of the human nature. Okay, when we operate in the realm of the mind, how do we make sure that the what we think is positive? We have to understand that the seed, the good seed, the good seed within us is the mental images. The images is made up of what we hear and what we see. Okay, what we hear and what we see. Every word that we speak comes from somewhere else. We have heard it before. Every ideas, every opinion, it comes from what we see and what we hear. Okay, this is where we operate within the mind. This is where we operate in the nature. Okay, no longer the emptiness part. Notice that what we hear, what we see, is the seed that will eventually grow up into a tree, and they will bear fruit into what we see, what we say, and what we know. Okay, let me repeat that. What we hear and what we see are the seed that will eventually grow up into a tree that will bear fruit in what we say and what we know. Okay, what we hear and what we see, those are the seed. What we hear, what we see are the seed, and they will grow up into the tree that will bear fruit in terms of what we say and what we know. So, if what we hear and what we see is negative, guess what? It's going to grow up into a tree that will bear fruit that is negative in what we say and what we know. But if what we hear and what we see is balanced or positive, then they will grow into a tree that will bear fruit that is balanced and positive in what we say and what we know. Get it? It's a simple law of cause and effect. What we say comprises of everything that we have known, which is comprised of everything that we have heard and seen. Okay? Do you agree with that so far?
I do, but
Nothing
I'd
that
like
we,
to add.
huh?
I do, but I would like to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have we're humans, we have this conscience. I said it before in another group. We do experience negatives, even as babies. We have feelings in us. As we grow, we get this, I call it the conscience, my voice in my head, little whisper, tells us right and wrong. So these negative things are happening as we grow. We're the seed. The seed is being planted in us. We're the tree. That doesn't necessarily mean we bear bad fruit. In my mind, we have the conscience and the human brain, and we can adjust. So we have the capability to still make good fruit. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, that's a good speaking. That's a good speaking. That good speaking, if you apply that to the cause and effect, that is the fruit. What you're saying now is the fruit. That fruit comes from some seed of hearing and seeing that you've seen in the
Some
past.
seed. Some
Yeah,
seed. Yeah.
yeah, right? What
We're
you're saying
born. We're
now is a
born.
fruit.
I think we're born with it, or it's our conscience. I call it conscience. I don't know where it comes from, but the
We'll
right
explain
and
where that
wrong.
comes from in later. Yeah, there is an
Okay.
explanation for that. Joe, good. Okay, we're heading in the right direction. Okay, but let's not jump too far ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, right now we're talking about causality and the seed and the fruit, and this is a perfect example, right? What we have just said, those are the fruit of our knowledge, what we know, we say, okay? And those fruit come from what we hear and what we see. Okay, so so we go back to the 3 point of view. There were 3 point of view. Okay, 3 point of view. I'll just sort of redraw it real quick. The point of view of the worldly or the scientific perspective, and the scientific perspective or scientific method, the scientific method begins with the outcome in mind. A scientist would have a hypothesis about what he thinks is the final outcome. And what they do is they will set up a set of experiment that will basically prove that outcome. They begin with the end, they work backward, and they arrive at the same conclusion. That is basically the scientific method. Engineers, architecture, scientists, they all do that. If they want to build a bridge or a house, they have the end in mind, the outcome in mind, a mental picture of what the building looked like. Then they go back and they put, ABC together all the way to Z so that the final picture the final result would actually look like what they have in mind at the beginning. That is a scientific method. You guys get that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at it real quick. From a scientific, point of view, the outcome in life. Okay, the outcome in life that we have today is the fruit, right? The outcome in life that we have today. Whatever we say, whatever we're experiencing in life, that is the outcome. If we could come up with just one word to be the cause of the outcome, what is the one word that we can use to represent the seed of the outcome that we have today? Just one word.
Result.
The result is the fruit. Okay, what would be a good word to represent the seed? What bring us to where we are today? What bring us to where we are today? What is the cause?
The outcome.
The outcome is the fruit. Okay. How do we get here today? How do we get here today? If there's one word that can represent how we got here today as a human being.
Consequence.
Consequence is
But
the outcome.
in a
Consequence is the
pot.
fruit. So what is the cause? What causes our outcome in life? Anybody else in the chat want to chime in and help? If you can come up with one word that decide how we got here to where we are today.
Hmm.
Well,
Not decision? No, not decision.
yeah, you're getting close. Yeah. Okay, that is a good word. Another
Choice?
word for, yeah, that's a good word. Yeah. So successful people all agree that choice or choices, okay, gives us the outcome that we have today. From the moment we first learn to choose, we choose what to eat, what not to eat. We choose what to wear, what not to wear. We choose what friend to play with. As we get older, we choose what subject to study, what career path to pursue. We choose to get married or not get married. We choose to marry this person and not that person. We choose to have children or not have children. You notice that it is always a choice. All of those choices have led us to the outcome of life that we have today. Right? Even if those choices were undesirable, undesirable choices. Sometimes we had we have to choose between two very uncomfortable choices, but we still made a choice. Right? Somebody could say, I could have done something, but I chose to do this instead. Okay. And as the next, so basically our choices in life brought us to where we are today. And the person who can take responsibility for the choices is a person who can begin to take responsibility for the outcome that they have in life. So choices lead to the outcome in life. All right, we all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the next question. Why did we make those choices? For example, Andrew, why did you wear a black shirt today instead of a yellow shirt?
So it was laying there. It was
Huh?
easy
It
to
was just
get.
laying there. It's easy. Okay. Yeah, but okay. So you chose, something that was just laying there and it was easy to get. But why didn't you take the time to go out and put on a suit and a tie?
Oh, like a yellow one or something bright, more
Yeah,
positive.
why didn't you make
I
a
like
better?
I like ACDC. So I
Okay.
like ACDC.
Yeah, so you like it.
Got to
Yeah.
give it some time, some
Okay.
some respect.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that if you drill a person enough, if you keep on asking why do you do this, why do you do that, right? Eventually, most people will basically arrive at the final answer is to be because I like it, or it's a suitable, is a compatible match with who I am. Yeah, it's just me. I just made that choice because it's me. It's suitable with me, or I like it, right? You can come up with a million reasons, but you ask a person why that reason and why that reason, why that reason, ultimately down to the very last question, it is ultimately because the choices is whether because we like it, okay, or it is suitable to us at that time. It is
I
a
always use practical. Frank, I always use practical. Practical is usually my number one go-to for anything. Practicality.
okay. Yeah, but why practical? There are different
Well,
ways
because the
to
shirt's got one more wear before it goes in the wash.
yeah.
Practical.
Yeah, but you have many other practical shirts too. Why that one?
It's not because this is the one. This is the bedtime shirt. Got one more night. I'm about to go to bed. So there's likes and wants and there's needs. And it's more of a need for me to be practical. So that I just there's a lot of practicality in my
Mhm.
choices. It's not
Yeah.
about my my wants. Wants are really not such a good thing.
So
You-
practicality is something that suits you more.
Yeah, it fits the needs.
Yeah.
It fulfills the needs. Practicality. It's a
Hmm.
simplistic. What's that word called for that lifestyle of simplicity? A minimalist. Being a
Hmm.
minimalist. It's it's less on the. You talked all about this vanity, uh, that beauty stuff. You talked about all that. So it's just what you need. Anyway, sorry to sorry to
No, that's
keep.
wonderful. That's wonderful. So would you
Yeah.
say that practicality um
It's huge for me in my
is
choices. It's huge.
it represent who you are, right?
I'm a very practical person, and if you
Hmm.
were to write some things down about me, you would
Hmm.
eventually write down that I'm very practical and frugal, and those would be up there in the top.
But why would you
Right?
be practical instead of, let's say, lavish? Why don't you
I'm
be
not
lavish?
lavish. I'm not lavish because if I have the choice to to go out to dinner or not go out to dinner, I'm going to try not to go out to dinner. I'm a conservative. I conserve. I shut lights off. I hang my clothes on the rack to dry. I wash my clothes by hand. I try to save energy. I don't pollute. I pick up people's garbage. I mean, if we want to talk about individual character, those are choices.
Yeah,
So
but my question is that why those choices and not other choices?
it's well,
Why
it makes me
practical
feel
and not
it makes
lavish,
me
right?
feel better.
Why?
It makes
Hmm?
me feel better. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, you make you feel better with because you like it. You like to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I live within my means and I save for rainy days.
yeah. And why would you do that instead of spending lavishly? And
It 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 gives security. A lot of it comes down to security. Security, no one's going to give me security. I have to create my own security. So I have to create my own security. And security is that house you drew. So our feeling, all if we go back to that page, I mean, when I make mistakes and decisions, I create my own hardships, my own sadness, my own bad health. But if I make the right
yeah. The
choice
question is why? Why do you do?
for
Why do you do
security,
all that? Mhm.
self, it's being responsible. I create so I can have a better life to be healthy. Because when I have everything I need and I don't have to fight for it, I'm more healthy because I'm happier. I don't have to be thinking tomorrow about where my meal is going to come from. I actually went shopping and I have some food in the fridge. I made the money to buy it. I've done all the right things and that will make me happy in the end when I get to eat. I don't have to worry about it. And I'm not going to McDonald's and buying my dinner. No, I
So
bought some food.
the question is, why are you that way and not another way?
Well,
Why are you that way? Particularly, why are you that way? Why do you be that way instead of being another way? It's not a right or wrong. It's just why is it particular way of being and
sometimes
not another
I've
way?
had, yeah. So you can dance with the music. Life has stages. You talked about you talked about some things that happen to people in their lives that can change their life financially. And there are also other reasons. I've had all kinds of experiences. I've had lavish dinners. I'd have some lavish lifestyle, but I would never get hooked on that. Conservation, I think, is important to everybody, but it's not me to judge.
back to the question why. Why do you think that way and not another way?
Why do I think that way? Because I've experienced hard times. I've had hard times as growing up as a boy, a teenager, a young adult. I've experienced difficult times where there's not enough money or not even sure about where to live, how to live, about food, about warmth. And when you experience those things, if you if you value your experience, you would prepare. And it becomes I don't want to call it a habit, but it's also a habit, but it's experience. And it goes into the brain, in my memory. And I won't let it go. So I know what I need to do every day. And I'm cautious. And it gives me security when I know I've done my best. And I'm gonna eat tomorrow. I got a roof over my head. The heat's ready to go on. It's Canada. I just made some improvements to my heating system so I can be more efficient. It makes me happy to get things done, to save energy. It gives me security, personal security. I feel safer. I made myself feel safer. I don't know how else to explain it, Frank. I don't know. I don't get it. Did I not answer?
Ultimately,
Ultimately,
ultimately, the choices you've made, okay, ultimately, would you agree that the choices you've made is whether you like it or it is a suitable match for who you are at that moment in time?
it's suitable to me at that time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
suitable at that
right.
time.
So we can
I
conclude.
might not like it, Frank. I might not
Yeah, yeah,
like it,
that's fine. That's fine. That's
but
fine.
but it's definitely suitable at
Yeah,
that time.
at that moment, in fact,
Yeah.
not only it is suitable, but it is the best choice that you could have made at that time, given what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Being responsible. Yeah.
Our
But
choices, in fact,
you could also make an unsuitable choice, but you might like it. So I don't know how you how you view that. You want to you want the heat up high. You
take a
want
step
the
back.
fresh air. You want the fresh air, so you open the window. The heat goes out the window, but you got the fresh air. But you like it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
whichever choice that we
Okay.
make, okay, whatever choice that we make, take a moment, okay, to slow down for a moment and narrow our life down to that single moment of choice. Okay, narrow our life down to that single moment of choice. It is always the choice that we think that is best for us at that moment.
Okay.
Right? Later on, we can regret it. That's a different matter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at that single moment, we always choose to do the thing that we think is best for us at that moment.
But
At
I hate
that
to, but I
moment.
gotta disagree slightly with that. I gotta
No, no.
slightly
Okay, now go
disagree with
ahead.
that.
No, go ahead and narrow down to
Wait,
that
okay,
moment.
there's people. I'm gonna use a really real example
Go
of
ahead.
unfortunate people.
No, actually, no, let's use your
I,
own life. Don't hypothetical other people. Okay. Let's choose your own life. This shirt,
okay, I
this
want to
no,
eat
right
this
now.
piece of
This
cheesecake, but it's
mhm.
not gonna help me to maintain my my health. But I'm gonna eat this piece of cheesecake because it's gonna taste good.
At
And
yeah,
I'm
because
somehow
at that moment,
I'm gonna satisfy my
yeah,
craving. But
yeah.
really, it's the wrong thing to do. But I'm gonna do it anyway.
Slow down. Slow down, Andrew. Slow down. Okay. Let's
The-
narrow it down to that moment of choosing. Okay. Whether it's a cheesecake or the black shirt that you're wearing. At that moment of our choosing, would you agree that as a result of our desire and our imagination, our mind, our personality, our human nature, all of that aspect interplaying at that moment, we choose the thing that is most suitable or that we like it the most.
Yeah, it's the suitable thing. Yeah, it goes
Yeah,
on that
see?
side of this. Yeah,
See? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Frank, for arguing. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. It helps other people in this Zoom come to a clearer understanding of that thing, that choice right there.
Really? Give me a thumbs up if anybody agrees that it's helpful.
Anybody's doing a Zoom, give us a
Let's
thumbs
see.
up.
Let's see a
See
thumbs
if
up.
anybody's
At
paying
least
attention. There
one.
you go. Yeah. So here's a statement that we can that can summarize this whole discussion. The root cause of life begins with me. The root cause of life begins with me. And it is my choices that is bringing me to the outcome in life today. Think about that. Every choice that we make, when we narrow it down to that single moment of choosing, it's number one, our choice. Number two, is it we either like it or it is suitable for who we are, given our personality, our knowing, and our nature at that moment in time. It is always the best choice. Later on, we can go back and regret it. Later on, we can judge it. But at that moment, whether we like it or it's suitable with us. Right? So we can use this statement and say that we can conclude to say that the root cause of life begins with me and it's not my fault. Because at that moment of choosing, whether I like it or it's suitable for me, it is always the best that I knew how to make. Later on, we pay the price and we regret it, blah, blah, blah. That's afterward. But at the moment of choosing, it is whether we like it or it is a suitable match for me. Therefore, it is the choice that I could have made at that moment. And so we cannot really blame myself either. The root cause of life begins with me, but I don't need to blame myself. Think about that. The root cause of life begins with me, but I don't need to blame myself. I don't need to
Why do
blame
we
other
don't
people.
why we don't blame ourselves if it was a wrong? What?
Okay.
Why we don't blame ourselves?
Because at the moment of choice, it is the best that we could have made. If we knew better, we would have made a better choice. We have
It's discipline.
narrowed it down to
It's not really knowing. It's like it's a choice. It's a discipline. It's your discipline. It comes down to your discipline. You there?
yeah, fine. Yeah. Whether it's discipline or no discipline, okay, we're narrowing it down to the single moment of choosing. At that single moment of choosing, we make that choice because we either like it or it is suitable for who we are.
Okay.
And therefore, it is the best choice that we could have made.
Okay.
There really is no other, we could not have made any other choice. Think about it. Down to that narrow moment, that single instantaneous moment of choosing, we could not have made a different choice. Given who we are at that moment, our nature, our personality, our ego, our emotion, all of that interplaying gave us that choice at that moment. Later on, we can look back and say, I made a bad choice. Later on, we can look back and say, I didn't have discipline. Later on, da, da, da. Those are all after the fact. But at the moment of choosing, can we have made any different choices? No, you can only make one choice, and that is the best choice because it is whether we like it or it's suitable for who we are. This is a Zen moment, Andrew. This is a transformative moment.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna tear this one apart. Okay. It doesn't. It's fine to accept it.
Okay, for now, okay, yeah. So,
Hmm.
so that we can move on, for the sharing, we
Yeah.
can conclude by saying that the root cause of life begins with me. That is taking responsibility. At the same time, we can free ourselves up by saying it is not my fault. Because at the moment of choosing, that is the best choice that I could have made. Only
It's a
then,
good positive
only
note.
then can we begin to save ourselves. Only by realizing that the choice that I made at that moment is the best choice that I could have made. I don't need to blame myself. Obviously, I don't
Yeah.
need to blame other people. Because
Yeah.
you notice that blaming and resentment is negative.
Yeah,
And because
exactly.
people go negative, it make it
Yeah.
difficult for us to make better choice in the future.
I agree with you, Frank. Let's keep
See?
it
Yeah,
works. It really does. It's necessary.
yeah.
You're right.
If we do
Yeah.
not free ourselves up in that moment, if we do not free ourselves, then we will forever be trapped by resentment and blame. And that
We
is
don't want that.
negative, and we can never rise.
I cannot have that.
Our mind suffer, our emotions suffer, our body will take a toll.
Yeah. We learn from that. We learn
Okay?
from that. It's
Yeah.
positive.
So root cause of life begins with me. So that is why this principle, this is called the formula for the root cause of life. Okay, so that first part is transformative if you get it. That the root cause of life begin with me. Okay. Um, and I don't need to blame myself. And then the rest is I'm just gonna fly through it. You mentioned some of these words before. Our choices in life, we make those choices because of our personality. Okay. Our personality, a person, let's say, who's outgoing will tend to make outgoing choices. A person who is cheerful tend to put on a cheerful looking shirt. Our personality tend to give us the kind of choices that we make. Okay, what we from the moment that we choose to eat to what kind of friend we play with, what career choices. Okay, our personality, our human nature, we talked about that. All of that influence our choices, and our choices give us the outcome in life. Okay, personality, what is it made of? Scientists in this field of psychology say that it's made up of our somebody help me. Um, habits. Yeah, habits. Yeah, habits. When we repeat a set of action enough, people would see that as part
Yeah.
of our personality. Yeah, our habits. Okay, and our habits is nothing more than our actions. Okay, that is repeated. So a bunch of action will lead to habit. Okay, and so if we try to change, first of all, we have to recognize that if we want to change our outcome in life, we got to change our choices. Simple. In order to change our choices, we have to change our personality. That is an important step. It is those 16 human nature, the desire, the imagination, all of that interplaying that give us our personality. If we really want to change the outcome in life, we have to be willing to change ourselves, to
Yes.
literally become a different person.
Yes.
Yeah. If a person is so attached to who they are, the ego, the self, their point of view, all of that, and if they're not willing to change who they are, then their life is not going to change. Yeah. Yeah. So if we really want to change our life, we change our choices, we change our personality. That's why every person who has gone through this philosophy, after a short time, people would say, "You've changed." When people around you say, "Oh, there's a change in you. You're not the same anymore," then you know that you have succeeded in changing your personality. You are not the same person anymore. And because we are not the same person anymore, our choices will be different and our outcome in life will be different. because the root cause of life begins with me. Okay. And so in order to change your personality, all we got to do is change our habit. And our habit is made of a bunch of actions that we repeat it. Okay. And so if we need to change our action, what do we need to do? We need to change our action, then we need to change our thought. Okay. Our thought influence our action. Our action made up of habits changes our personality. And so there is a whole field of psychological therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, for people who have mental health issues and they want to make positive changes, a therapist will help them change their thought so that they can change their actions and habit and then personality. Cognitive therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, so all you got to do is change your thought. But there's something deeper that makes up the thought. What makes us think the way we do? What makes us think the way we do? Ever thought about that? Why do we have a certain tendency to think about a certain way and not another way? So what makes us think the way we do? It turns out that our belief make us think the way we do. Okay? Our belief makes us think the way we do. It shapes our thought. Our belief system about the world shape our thought. Okay? And so if we want to change our thought and our actions and our habit and personality and our choices and our outcome, we go to work on our belief. Beliefs are something that tend to be very deep and foundational. Have you met anybody who changed the belief and then overnight they changed their life around? Okay. Religion works on our belief. Help us believe in a certain set of ideas, and that shape our entire life. When a person changes their religion, for example, you see everything in their life change. So it is our belief that shape our thought. So if we want to change our outcome in life, we got to start to pay attention to the kind of things that we believe in. Are those things we're believing positive or negative? And so when it comes to belief, there is a positive and a negative direction to it. Okay? Believe there's positive and negative to it. First of all, as a human being, we always believe 100% in something, or we believe in 100% the opposite. There is no such thing as partially believing in something. If I say that, somebody said that they're going to make $1 million. And their friend say, I don't think you're going to make $1 million. It is not the case that the friend does not believe that the person will make $1 million. It is the case that the friends believe that he will not make $1 million. Okay, this is important awareness and perception. A human being never not believe. We always believe. We just absolutely believe one way, or we believe in its opposite. If you say that you are going to make $1 million, I either believe you're going to make $1 million, or I believe that you're not going to make, that you're going to fail or not make $1 million. Same thing with our sense of self. We can believe that we are going to run a marathon, or that we believe that we're going to fail or not run a marathon. It is never the case that I don't believe. It is always the case that I believe, or that I believe in its opposite. Think about that one. You agree? When a person say they don't believe, what they're really saying is that they are believing in the opposite. Somehow human beings, we operate that way. We just didn't get it before. And because we didn't get it, we don't achieve the result that we want consistently because we don't understand how belief works. Belief is always 100% in one direction or belief in the other direction. In a positive direction, well, if you believe something that aligned with your desire, if you believe in something that align with your desire, you're going to get it. If you believe in something that align with your desire, you're going to get it. If you believe in something that go against, let's use the purple color, against what you desire, against desire, then you're going to get its opposite. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit. If we believe that we can become healthy, and we want to become healthy, then we're going to be healthy. It's that simple. But if we believe that we're going to be sick, then we are going to basically go against our desire. We don't want to be sick, but are going against the desire, meaning to be sick. Okay, it is not we never not believe. Okay, we never not believe. We always believe. We either believe in what we design. We either 100% believing in what we desire, or we are always 100% believing in the opposite of what we desire. If we believe that when we're going to be healthy, then our desire to be healthy, then we're going to achieve the result of a life that is healthy. But the opposite of health is sickness. If we believe that we're going to get sick, we're going to get sick. By understanding this, it will allow us to have a clear and concise direction of believing. It is also the principle of light at work. We focus on the positive, which is alignment with desire. We focus on our desire, not on what we don't desire. Okay, let's take another example. Let's say we have children and we're at a pool and a bunch of kids are running around. Okay, we start to see that it's dangerous. What would you say to a bunch of kids that is running around on a wet ground at a pool? What would you say to the kid?
Stop running, you're going to trip, fall, and get hurt.
Okay, a lot of information in that one. So look, what is your real desire for the children?
Be safe.
Exactly. Your real desire for the children is to be safe, to live long and happy and healthy life. What you don't want is to fall and trip. But if we are focusing against our desire, then what you're really believing in is that you're believing in falling and tripping. Okay? That's like trying to remove the darkness from the room and expecting the light to come in. Parents in this philosophy who have learned the principle of light, who understood that alignment with desire is a powerful principle that will bring us the reality that we want, start to change the way they speak to their children. Instead of saying, stop running, you'll fall and on your face and trip, what that does is it implant mental images in the children about running and falling and tripping, but they still don't know what the right thing to do. Think about that. They actually don't know how to be safe. Don't run, fall, trip. All of those key words plant negative images in the kid's head, but yet they have no conception of what it means to be safety. Unless you tell them, slow down, walk for safety. Just simple like that. When we plant the right mental images it's a seed, they will grow to be positive seed. But if you plant a bunch of negative seed, it's going to grow to be a negative seed. Here's another example. About positive and negative, light and darkness, okay, and how the mind works. Okay, let me try to follow my instruction as as detailed as you can. Okay, right now, ready? Don't think of a big yellow elephant in the room. Don't think about big yellow elephant in the room. Don't think about the big yellow elephant in the room. How many of you saw a big elephant or even a yellow elephant in the room?
Just your shirt and the elephant. Your
Okay.
shirt and a big yellow elephant is
How
what I
about this
saw.
one? Yeah, how about this one? Okay. Don't think about a juicy, sour lime. Don't think about juicy, sour lime. Did anybody actually salivate a little bit?
Yeah, I did.
Even though I told you not to. I told you this game is to follow my instruction. And I said don't, yet all of you didn't follow direction. Why? Because the human mind does not process the word don't. The human mind only processes the positive. It processes the positive mental images. I give you the mental of a yellow elephant. I give you the mental image of a juicy, sour lime. If I wanted you to not think about the lime, then all I got to do is say, think about a bitter lemon. Never mind, bitter lemon. That's a Vietnamese. That's a Vietnamese. Okay, think about a red car. Okay, think about the red car. Notice if I tell you to think about the red car, there's no space in your mind to think about the lime or the elephant. That is how the principle of light works. When there is light in the room, there's no darkness. When we focus on the positive thing, there is no room for darkness to be in the room. If I don't want you to think about a big yellow elephant, I could have just talked about focus on the brown rat. Right? Basically anything different from the image of the yellow elephant, then you would have simply not think about the yellow elephant. Same thing with the little children, with the kids who are doing anything that is negative. If you focus on the negative, the children's gonna have those negative seed planted in their mind. And while they know that those are the bad things to do, they will also not know what the right thing and the good thing to do. So all you got to do is focus on the positive. Walk slowly for safety. That's it. One small message, you plant a positive image in the direction of your desire, and you're going to get that result, because we leave no room for the alternative. We leave no room for the negative. Okay? The power of belief. There will be miracles when you believe. There's a song, okay? There will be miracles when you believe it. As long as you understand how the principle of belief works, that belief is always 100% in the positive direction. If you plant anything negative, that also means you are believing in the negative aspect of that. We are so trained in getting this mixed up. That's why our result in life, our outcome in life is inconsistent, is muddy, it's muddled. But once we understand this principle of the principle of light and alignment with desire, we always think about and we always talk about, and we only cultivate positive mental images in the line of what we desire, then we're going to get that result. Okay? Do you guys get that so far?
I get it.
Yeah. And
We
so,
have to stop. We got to stop for, I'm not saying you, anytime I talk, I got to stop and think.
okay, that's fine.
Any word.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and so, okay, so the question is, where do our beliefs come from? Okay, so up to now, we've been believing a mix of alignment or against our desire, and so our result in life has been inconsistent. Okay, our thought is inconsistent, our action, our habits, our personality, our choices are inconsistent, and so our outcome in life is never always consistently positive. So we got to come to an understanding of where our images, our mental belief come from. And we have already mentioned that. Okay, they come from our mental images. Okay, mental images. Okay, and where do our mental images come from? We already know that too. From what we hear, what we see, okay, what we speak, and what we know. So it's really simple. We start to monitor what we hear and what we see. We start to monitor. Take a proactive choice in monitoring what comes into our eyes and our ears. Imagine a person who turned on the news every day and hear and see bad negative images. What do you think is going to come out of the mouth when they start talking? What do you think they're going to make it known to them? Death and destruction, bad things that happen. And what do you think is going to be the outcome? First of all, the mental images are made of the stuff that they get in the news. Okay, their belief system, they're going to think, what do they think about the world? Yeah, people who listen to the news all day, it's going to think about the world becoming pretty negative, huh? Yeah, they're going to have pretty negative thoughts about the world, about people. Their action is going to be negative. Their habit, their personality, their choices, and guess what their outcome in life going to look like? It's going to be pretty negative. On the other hand, a person who spends time hearing and seeing things that are positive, they're going to speak positive things, know things that are positive. Their mental images is balanced and positive. Their belief system is going to be balanced and positive. Everything through will come to the outcome. The shortcut is really simple. We know this already, so we can cut through here. Since you have this formula, the moment that we change our speaking and our knowing, we can change what we say and what we know, right? We can change our speech and what we know. We can monitor what we see and what we hear. If what we see and what we hear is not conducive to the kind of life that we desire, just chalk it up to our imagination. Chalk it up to whatever. Okay? We have a filter. We can choose what to hear and what to see. That is when we initiate the inner truth. That is when we press the reset button. Okay, when we hear and see anything that is negative, that does not bring us a desirable outcome in life, we can go back to that inner truth. We can go back to that emptiness. I only know and I only hear and I only see. Not what I hear and what I see. That's when you take a step back. I know I'm here and now I'm seeing. That's it. No content. No positive or negative polarity. Balance. Reset. But if we come across anything that we hear and we see that is favorable, that is positive, then go ahead. Okay? Go ahead. Accumulate, acquire, cultivate. Make it positive. Give ourselves positive mental images. That will inform our belief about ourselves, about the world, makes us positive and balanced, and sooner than even later, we will find ourselves making positive choices and we will get positive result in life. There's a story of a person who has cancer, okay, a cancer patient. Okay, the person has been given a diagnosis of cancer. They don't have a lot of time left. Fortunately, they understood that positive mental images can affect the entire body because cancer is nothing more than a state of imbalance in the body. Okay, at its fundamental level, cancer is nothing more than a state of failure to achieve homeostasis. Our body is supposed to create new cell, and then old cell will die. New cell is a process of birth and regeneration. Old cell die, that's a process of death and destruction. There has to be a balance. Old cell has to be go away, new cell has to be born. Cancer is new cell that get born, but they don't die when they're supposed to. And they get born so fast, they get produced so fast that they eat up all the food of all the good cell, and they don't function the way they're supposed to. So cancer is nothing more than an overgrowth and an unbalanced growth in the body as a consequence of a body that is out of balance with itself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so this cancer person, understood that their body has been in a state of negatively unbalanced. And through the process of curing for cancer, what they do, they go about and they rent every funny comedy movie that they can think of while they're in the hospital. They ask their friends and family to bring in all the funny movie. And all day long, they would watch happy and funny movie, and they would laugh. And after a short amount of time, the doctor was amazed to see that the cancer went away a lot faster than expected. That person can literally cure themselves of cancer by cultivating what they hear and what they see in a positive direction. Okay, did you guys get that so far? Our
Yeah.
mind has a direct impact on the rest of our body. And so the formula for the root cause of life basically give us the good seed. The good seed from a scientific perspective. Okay, science begin with the final outcome in mind. They go back and they work it backward. The final outcome is a life that is desirable. They go all the way back and they determine that the seed is the positive mental images, which makes up of what we hear, what we see, what we speak, and what we know. And all we gotta do, monitor what we see. Okay, next time you turn on the TV, start monitoring. Is this really the kind of life that I want? Is that life out there on TV the kind of life that I want for me? Do I want war? Do I want destruction? Do I want politicians who philander and blame each other and all that negative? Do I want that? If that is not conducive to what my desire is for my life, then I turn it off. Okay, switch the channel. Watch something funny, something that will raise our energy level from negative to positive. Give us positive mental images that will begin to shape our belief, and then that will influence our choice. Okay, so our mental images, they shape our belief. Okay. And that is the good inner seed within us. Okay, that is the power of causality, of understanding the formula of cause and effect. Okay, okay, that's the end of my sharing. Let's give you guys a chance for some feedback. Lesson, impression, realization.
Basic. It's basic. Stay positive. Keep balance. Go back to positive. Go back to balance. Think good thoughts. Don't watch any more movies with guns and blowing people up. Don't wear black shirts and listen to AC/DC. Tell your dad to stop watching the news all day long. and just think happy thoughts, and you will have a happy life. And tell my friend who's got cancer to think positive, watch some funny movies. I got to send them some happy faces, bring them some cookies or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anybody
have a
else?
friend who have can I have another friend who have cancer. Yeah, and one of the official treatment plan that Western doctors basically prescribed to her was psychotherapy. This is cancer. This is cancer of the body, and he sends her to mental health therapists. They put her
Yeah.
through hypnosis, and she was able to basically reconnect her with her past, resentment and things like that. And she said oh my God, she woke up from the hypnosis and the floor was full of tissue. She had been crying her eyes out, and that was she was able to basically save herself
Oh, so it worked.
by letting
Good.
go of a lot of
Terrific.
negativity. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Good. Good
This is
story.
advanced. This is advanced cancer treatment. In the modern world, it's not just medication and surgery and radiation. It is psychotherapy. It's an important closing to today's sharing. Important closing statement to wrap up the knowledge of today's sharing. So as we were talking about the scientific point of view when it comes to looking at the law of causality, okay? Once again, from a scientific perspective, it is the mental images that we have in our mind that will determine the good seed within us. And we already learned that um, the law of causality basically state that good seed plus uh, favorable condition will give us the positive or desirable outcome. And the formula for the root cause of life basically does just that. It shows that the seed within us is the mental images, okay, that will give rise to the choice that we make, and that will influence the outcome of life that we have today. So there are several important statements that kind of wrap everything up, and I want to write it down for you guys to imprint. Okay, and one of the statement is the root cause of life begins with me. Okay, but I don't blame. Okay, I cannot blame myself. I cannot blame other people. I cannot blame other people because the root cause of life begins with me. I cannot blame myself either because at the moment of choosing, I really have no better choice. I always make the best choice for myself anyway. It is only after the fact that I look back and I think of it as a bad choice, but it's really not the bad choice. It is the bad outcome. Okay, because at the moment of choosing, I always make the best choice for myself. Therefore, the root cause of life begins with me. Okay, but I don't blame. That is something that you should memorize. Okay, the root cause of life begins with me. We take full and complete ownership of the choices and the outcome. The root cause of life begins with me. And in this point of view, the scientific point of view, it is the mental images that determine the outcome in life, okay, that we have. So I want you to write this one down. Clear images equals outcome. It's that simple, okay? When an architect wants to build a house, he clarified the images of the house, whether in his mind or down on paper in a blueprint. And the clearer the image, the more likely the outcome is going to take place. So clear images equal outcome. Okay, clear images equals outcome. If an architect has a clear image of not only what the blueprint of the house look like, but he has a clear image of what material is needed to build a house, who are going to build a house, when is it going to be done, in which fashion, what permits and paperwork, clear images equals outcome. The clearer the image, the clearer your outcome in life. Okay, clear images equal outcome. And then, okay, so because clear images equals outcome, then if you can change images, you can change life. Okay, if you can change your mental images, you literally change your mind. Just as the scientific method begins with the outcome in mind, go back to work on getting to the outcome. If we change our mental images, what we hear, what we see, what we speak, what we know, we're going to change our life. Monitor what we hear, change what we say, what we speak. Okay, so you can practice doing that. Start paying attention to what we hear, what we see, and start paying attention to what we say, what we know. And if what we say, what we know is negative or go against what we truly desire in life, then guess what? We're going to get that negative outcome instead of what we desire in life. So pay attention to the kind of thing that we say, what we speak to other people, okay, and to ourselves. Change images, change life. Clear images equals outcome. Change images, change life. And here, not only are clear images will bring about the outcome in life, not only through the process of mental images and belief influencing our choices and our outcome, but if you remember from the interaction from last time, remember with the pen, what this is does not come from itself, but what this is comes from the mental images from within our own mind. So how we perceive that determine it as what it is. Okay, so that is a tie-in from today's discussion as well as from last week's discussion. Okay, remember, the essence of all things is empty. Who I am nobody, and because I am nobody, I have unlimited potential. Because I am nobody, I have unlimited potential, and to have unlimited potential means I can become anybody. All things in life are essentially empty, okay, empty of meaning. All things are essentially empty, therefore it has unlimited potential. And because it has unlimited potential, it can become anything. Okay, so you can create your reality by changing our mental images. And that is the knowledge sharing for today.
Good news.
Okay.
That's a good story.
Okay. So, yeah. So thank you so much for your impression, for your participation. We will begin next week, and I will talk about next week. Let's talk about the favorable source concept. Or I could get into, yeah, I could talk about the favorable source concept, which is the other good inner seed that we want to cultivate so that we can have the fruit of a life worth living. Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brett.
guys. Right. Very
Thank you.
honored by your participation. Appreciate Ms. Lang and Nguyen for all the chat that you type in the chat box. Thank you, Andrew. Yep. The one. Okay. I will see you guys next week. Okay.
Thanks,
Have a great
Frank.
night.
Have a
Have
good
a
day.
great day, the rest of you guys. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.